I wish joy and enlightenment were easy, but they aren't. Not for us, neither for Jesus, Buddha, or many of the great teachers and masters that have passed on this earth. Luckily, living in joy is a good enough of a thing to make all this hard work worth it. I received a question a while ago asking me why has the majority of humanity failed to evolve to a happy, joyous, and enlightened lives like Buddha and Jesus. So why is that? Well, first of all, because it is not easy. We're here to expand, to live, to grow. Yet we are divine souls in a human body, which creates our own inner struggles, the human condition. The part of us that is bonded to the animal kingdom wants to let things be cozy, play safe, always go with the flow, do the least amount of effort. Excessive energy waste is only for when absolutely crucial for our survival. Yet, our eternal soul knows that it can keep expanding and going much beyond. The soul is filled with willpower, and to expand and grow spiritually, even to heal, we need to be able to access that willpower, which is an incredible amount of power that we all have inside of us. Unfortunately, the more we over-identify ourselves with our earthly bond side, the hardest it is for us to access that fire. We want to grow, we want to expand and be free, joyful, and yet it is so easy and cozy to not to. It is so easy for us to stay where we are despite the repeated patterns, despite the frustrations, despite the pains. And so we do our best to shut down that inner whisper saying, there's more to life, there's more to you. Comfort zones are great nests for stagnation and depression. And that is because comfort zones aren't the nature of your soul. The story goes that it took Buddha 7 weeks of uninterrupted meditation under the Bodhi tree for enlightenment. Now that's right, day and night outside under a tree. This after years of pilgrimage looking for his answers. On top of that, he didn't know it was going to take him 7 weeks. He just knew he needed to do it, and he sat there for as long as it took. All he knew is that he had to do it, and he gave it all he got, his totality. That is a story of tremendous willpower. Now, on top of that, before all this journey, Buddha was a prince. He lived in a castle full of luxuries, pleasure, power. His path required him to sacrifice everything. Now, how many of us in this path are willing to commit to anything to that level and to access that level of willpower? Now, this is not only about enlightenment, it's not only about the spiritual path, it is about following our dreams, giving our best, and living in totality, which is what our souls want. How committed and willing are we to do just that? Can we surrender to our hearts and to our souls? It is not easy. And in a way, we all want to be more joyful and free. We don't expand though merely because we want something. We don't get anything just because we want it. Otherwise, we would all be rich, happy, having amazing sexual lives, eating all we want without getting fat, and so on and so forth. Wanting something is nothing but the fuel to be used by showing up and committing. Spiritual growth is not the path of least resistance, quite the opposite. Spiritual growth is not cozy. That is wellness, well-being. Spiritual growth It's a whole other thing. Spiritual growth is the path of facing fears, outgrowing shame and discomfort, and letting go of identities and attachments, dissolving the ego. It would be so easy if only we were not so attached to these things. Spiritual growth brings joy, but through cutting illusions, not by coping with them. Growth requires a level of discomfort. If we're too comfortable, we are not growing, for we are moving within our area of comfort. That discomfort is the challenge to be faced, so you get to grow. Signing up for spiritual growth, or any accelerated growth for that matter, is going against our so-called human condition. That animal inside of us that wants to save energy, to keep safe, to not do more than is required, that doesn't like work, that part of us does not like the idea of growth. For spiritual growth, we strive to reconnect to our souls that has the willpower, its nature of expansion. But here is a major learning. Staying too much in our comfort zones causes frustration. It makes us feel trapped, limited, stagnated. That is because safety is not our true nature. Even though the animal aspect of us loves that, our soul gets so uncomfortable in our comfort zones. Frustration is a call of the soul, claiming it is true nature of growth, claiming you to go back to your path. As we have disconnected from our hearts and our souls, it has become much harder for us to connect to that fire in our hearts and that spark of the soul, that willingness to expand. Spiritual growth is a path that reawakens that flame of the heart and that spark of the soul. To learn more about spiritual growth, get your free guide, What is Spiritual Growth? You will find the link in the video description below. I am Aline Ra M, spiritual guide, healer, teacher, and I thank you for sharing your time and energy with me today.